Y'all, hi. As always, my knitting room, hanging out room, chill room is a complete disaster. So, we are going to take 15 to 20 minutes, do a reset. It's going to be sped up for y'all, so it's not going to be that long. And then we are going to come back and talk about my current, all of my current whips, and I am going to walk y'all through my knitting journal for 2026. Doesn't that sound like fun? I think it sounds like fun. So, grab a project, clean your knitting room, because if you're anything like me, it's probably a mess and that's okay. And yeah, hang out with me while we do a Monday morning reset, which it's normally a Sunday morning reset. But before we do that, I'm just going to grab my coffee. Before we do that, take a minute to like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below. Let me know how long it took you to reset your knitting space. And come hang out with me. All right. Welcome to Stash Therapy. All right. Here's what we're going to do. I am going to go from oldest to newest of my whips. I have 10 to talk through with you. And I probably do not know all of the needle sizes. I do not know all of the yarn. I may know the pattern, and I have an approximation of when I started them. So really show and tell vaguely. So I'm excited about it. It'll be fun. And I'm going to talk through what my plan is for the actual project. Am I going to frog it? I'm not frogging anything. When am I going to finish it? That's not true. I may frog one thing after I have a conversation tonight. So we're just going to talk about them. This is going to be chatty, and which means it's probably going to be a longer video, which means I want y'all to grab coffee, get a project, hang out with me while I tell you all about my projects. Okay, oldest. In this Woolen Women Fibers bag, it's got strawberries on it, are a pair of socks that I started at the Nashville Fiber Fest last March. This is a Felice yarn. I do not know which one. Here's sock number 1 and sock number 2. Sock number 1 is on stitch holders or stitch holders. No, needle tips. And sock number 2 does not, because of course. And I guess technically this is sock number 1. This is number 2 because it's further along. Okay. Anyway, I am on the foot of this. I think I'm still going through the gusset decreases. I would have to count, but I am working on this pair of socks just as I want to. The yarn that or the needles that I'm using are a smaller needle. So it's a size 0 2 millimeter, which I normally use 1.5, size 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle. That's my preferred needle size for all things socks. So I think that's part of why this is going a little slower. But I will probably take it to this year's Yarn Nash Fest and Nash Yarn Fest and work on it as well. But I'm going to keep these because I really like the colors of the sock. I'm, pretty good way through both of them. And I'm not going to use these ChiaoGoo size 0 9-inch circulars for anything else other than this pair of socks. So that's project 1. They've been on my needles it's January 11th. They've been on my needles for 10 months, almost to the date. So, and I am just holding my smaller projects in this gold wire basket. They just kind of hang out there. So I'm putting them back in there as we go. Okay, so fast forwarding from March, we go to summer. And I think around May or June, I don't know the day I started this blanket, but I am working on a sweet shop blanket because of course I am, because everyone does. Let's look and see how far I am into this. I'm 5 squares into this blanket. 40 to go. I am going to keep working on this because I love it. I love everything about this. So the yarn, my solid green is a Hawthorne from Knit Picks. The color is the 2024 Fangirl Fibers Advent Beauty and the Beast. I was given that Advent very kindly. And so I am making a sweet shop out of it, which I want this blanket done because I truly do love it. I am a Love and Stitches member, and the focus of 2026 is blankets, which is so exciting. So, my goal is to work on this blanket once a week. I have 40 more squares to do, I believe. So, if I do a square a week from this point, I will be done by November. And all I have to do is a square a week. Let's go. Several of the Nashville locals are also doing either a sweet shop or they're doing the Stella blanket by Laura Penrose. So it's really fun to have people on this journey with me. I also haven't picked this up since June or July, which means I'm going to have to relearn what to do, which is fine. Okay, so whip number 2, sweet shop blanket. Needles, are they 4.5? I have them in here so I can tell you what they are. They're 4. I have ChiaoGoo Red Lace 4 needles in here. And this is where it gets a little squirrely for me. I think I started working on my Colorwork sweater next. And this is a Caitlin Hunter sweater. I do not remember which one it is, but I am in the Colorwork yoke still. This is the front of it, or the back of it. This is the back of it. So it'll go like that. I am absolutely going to keep working on this because I love this sweater and I want to wear this sweater. I put this one on hold back in August or September because I wanted to get better at color work before I continued this. And I'm actually really glad that I did that because I have gotten better at my color work. I did not change needle sizes for the color work. Um, and I think that's why I'm getting some puckering in the fabric, is because I did not change needle sizes. So that is something that I'm going to look into. I am not far enough along in this that I would be opposed to frogging it, ripping it back, and restarting it completely. And I may actually go ahead and do that. Because like I said, I'm not very far along. I'm only like 20 rows into the color work. For right now, this is staying on my needles and it is going to eventually get worked on because I do want this for next fall. The yarn I'm using is from a Chick That Knits. The blue is their Admiral on their, I think it's just their sock fingering base. Their Alpaca Dreams base fingering. I don't know what the white color is. I have it written down somewhere. I'll add it. Around that same time that I started the Caitlin Hunter sweater, I started working on my reading shawl. And with this one, I'm kind of at a standstill because I'm mad at it. And why am I mad at it? Well, I'm mad at it because it's not long enough. So let's talk about that. I think what's going on, or I know what's going on, is I'm 6 inches short from the recommended pattern length. And how do I know that? I know that because I counted my stitches, which is like 500 something stitches on this. Or I'm like 25 rows short of this. So 25 pairing rows, I believe, which is roughly 50 rows total. So what I am going to do is I'm gonna have to add row length. And I think how I've worked that out is I'm going to do a row of 3 of the undyed base, and then I am going to hold the weeks together. So, and I'm going to go in reverse order. And it may be that I do my normal 3 stripes of the white and then start going backward with 4 row sets of the color with 2 row sets of the white between. Whatever I do, it's going to have to look intentional because it is not intentional. And whatever I do, it's going to be fine. I'm going to be happy with it. Just a little frustrated with myself about it. All right. So after that project, I finished several things and I just worked on several things. Didn't really cast anything else on. And while I was actually working on that is when I started working on my Ooey Gooey. And this is, I think it's pretty much in the same place that y'all saw it in my last vlog. So Ooey Gooey, still on the needle, still going strong. I still love her. The yarn is all from the Farmer's Daughter, and the pattern is by Andrea Mallory. I'm using Oh Dang and Dyed in the Wool Spin Cycle. So again, I have talked about this ad nauseum. You can find this on previous vlogs. Okay, so while I was working on that, after I did my Ooey Gooey, after I got to the place I'm at currently with my reading shawl, I put that away and I cast on a jaunty shawl by Andrea Mallory. I am in the middle of rows, because why wouldn't I be? And I am about 2 and 3 inches into my second ball of yarn on this pattern. So this is going great. I knit on this every day and I absolutely love it. It is one of my favorite knits right now. I'm probably not going to be able to wear it this winter, which is fine. I knit on this 3 times a week very easily, and for probably 30 to 45 minutes at a time is what I am giving this shawl. And that's because I do want to wear it. I do want it done. So from there, from my jaunty shawl, I did 2 more new cast-ons roughly around the same time. And they were both supposed to be Christmas presents, but that didn't necessarily work out. First I cast on a Musselburgh for my neighbor. I am using size 4mm ChiaoGoo interchangeable needles, and I'm pretty a good ways into it. Remember how I said I might be changing a project? I don't think I'm going to be changing a project. I think I'm just going to keep going on this as it is. I think it's going to go pretty quickly just because it is a larger needle. I want a looser fabric. I'm going to hang out with my neighbor tonight who I am knitting. I got to quit knitting. Who I'm knitting this for, and I want to get her opinion on it. And I might float her a couple of other ideas that's more of a DK weight yarn where I'm holding this fingering double and see what fabric she likes the best. So this is a Fangirl Fibers. It's the Shadow Daddy from their Fourth Wing collection. The other project that I cast on was a pair of socks for a sister. And I'm in the gusset on one and starting the heel flap on the other. I like to knit my socks kind of in tandem, just like one right behind the other. I don't think I even showed these to you. The pattern that I am doing, and the pattern's actually really getting lost in this yarn, which is fine. The texture is getting lost, but I really like it, and I wanted to do something fun for her. I'm doing the Austin socks by the Crazy Sock Lady, and they're just going really quickly. I only have like 16 rounds left to where I'm back in the foot doing half pattern, half stockinette. So these are like my current church socks. And I think once I get past the gusset on both, then that's when I'm going to spend a lot more time working on these socks, which I really need to just spend some time working on the heel because that takes me the longest. So I might take some time to do the heel flap and gusset this week on this pair and just kind of get into a better place with them. The colorway is, I think, Intergalactic from Yarnable. I think it was the January 2024 Yarnable box yarn. Okay. All of that got cast on, and then I started thinking about that step-by-step sweater. And I was really unhappy with how it was turning out and what was going on with it. So I talked myself into casting on a stripe hype, and I am so glad that I did. I am so glad that I did. Let me grab it for you. Okay, so there's been a couple of things going on with this stripe hype. Nothing crazy. But I've made a big decision this week. But this is the current state of my stripe hype. In that video, you will notice that the stripe hype is a little bit longer and has a different green on it. And that's because I was not happy with the green when it was next to the Good Crunch from the Fiber Seed. That is my main color. And that's because it was not distinct enough for this pattern. Could I pair this yarn with other colors from the sweater and it turn out great? Absolutely. However, because there's a main color that is sandwiched between, it just was washing it out and I wasn't thrilled with how it was looking. So I went back to the Pearl and Clover Fiber Co on Etsy and I ordered another skein of yarn. This is their Verdant in the DK, and I'm so much happier with this. I think that this green, here, I'll hold it this way. Maybe I'll hold it upside down. I think that this green is just lending so much to the fall aesthetic of the sweater that the original one wasn't. That was more cool toned. I needed something a little deeper, a little warmer that still has that play in the fabric, and I got it with this one. I'm so very happy. This is where I'm at. My plan is to get through all of my contrast colors on the body, put it on hold, pick up for my sleeves, get those done, and then do the collar, and then do the ribbing, the last block of the main color to get the length, and then do my ribbing. And I should be done with how quick this is going. I should be able to wear this at some point in February. I was hoping to wear it in January. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think it will be a February wear for me, which I'm great with that. So, stripe hype. I love it. I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy that I went and changed what I was doing. Okay, so I cast that on mid-December, and then I did a Christmas cast on. And y'all seen these socks before. It's not new. I showed them in my last couple of videos, but I am doing the clog socks by Summer Lee. It is a new pattern release from her. And unfortunately, I lost yarn chicken, which breaks my heart. I need to reach out to a chick that knits to see if they have any or will be bringing this back. The yarn I am using is their Silky Single and the Dijon Mustard. If I have to, I will go ahead and do just their regular fingering weight sock yarn. I don't know texturally if I want to do that, if it's going to make a difference, but I will reach out and I will ask some questions of them. I completely fell in love with the heel on this. It was such a fun heel. I am well into the foot. I love the chunkiness of them. I did end up doing a decrease in the foot once I got past the decreases, and that's because it's a little too loose on my foot. So I'm gonna try it on again and see if I need to do one more decrease. in the foot, which all that's going to mean for me is it's just going to pull the pattern of the cables lower on my foot rather than being more on the side to top of my foot. And I'm okay with that. I don't think I'm going to wear these with tennis shoes. I think I'm just going to wear them with slip-ons and things like that. So I love them. I look, y'all, knit these socks. They are so fun. Get the pattern, knit the socks, do the things. Um, I'm really having a lot of fun with this pair of socks. All right, so that is all of my current whips. Again, I told y'all I have 10. It's not a crazy amount, but it still feels like a lot to me. So I'm not casting on anything new right now. I want to get some of the smaller things off of my needles before I cast on or before I make any big decisions like with that Caitlin Hunter sweater. I think I have a really good mix of projects going on that is going to keep me busy for the foreseeable future. So hang out with me. I can't wait to see what 2026 has in store. Speaking of 2026, how are we going to track what we're doing? Because I really like analog tracking. So let's take a few minutes to talk about my um, knitting journal that I created. Okay, so the journal that I'm using is from Dingbats. It is part of their wildlife collection, and it is the elephant journal, and I really like this one. And I wanted something a little bit plainer, more plain for my knitting year. This is still very much a work in progress, and I haven't added any color to the pages, nor have I erased things. But we will talk through the different sections and my collections that I'm going to keep track of. So I do have an index page on here. I am doing a vision board for 2026. And here is what I am tracking, okay? I am tracking my dream projects. I am tracking techniques to master. And I've written out a few seasonal knits. I have a section for color story, so colors that I'm drawn to. And then within that, I do have a place for knitting affirmations. And then on the next page, it's a double spread layout. This is knitting plans and yarn purchases. So as I'm going through and dreaming, I am going to list out maybe a project that I want to make or a yarn that I want to purchase. And my goal is to not just purchase yarn willy nilly without a plan. I want to have a plan for it. So while I'm drawn to a lot of yarn, and I could easily just like buy one off things, I want to make sure I'm being intentional with it this year because I've got a lot of like one off things over here on my shelf that I want to be able to use up. So if I purchase something, I want it to have a plan, with the exception of going to the Nash Yarn Fest. Then I might just like buy it because it's pretty. And then I have a bingo card, and let me tell you what a little bit of things on my bingo card. So, knitting with leftovers. Two I have an entire tub of leftovers, so I want to use those in projects this year. I want to knit from my stash, so anything that is in my stash that um, is not a 2026 purchase, but is a 2025 purchase. I have on here that I want to finish a long term whip, which we've talked about that today. And then I want to do a small destash guilt free, things I know I'm never going to use. I've got a couple of yarns that come to my mind on that. So I do not mind maybe destashing some of those things. So that's just a few things on my bingo card. And then I have a make 9 that I am doing. And I need to print out the pictures for it. And I need to get 3 more things on there. But right now is I want to do a Halloween colorwork sweater. I want to make a cardigan that is all garter stitched. I also want to do a Christmas sweater, and I have ideas about that. And the big thing that I want to do, besides like my sweet shop blanket, is I want to make a dress. And I actually want to make the Piper pocket dress. I'll put a picture of it here for you so y'all can see what I'm thinking about and what the dress is. I really like this dress. I think the cut is so cute, and I think for my frame, it will be a cute dress. I would make it longer than the pattern, so it's going to be a lot of fabric. What color would I make it in? I would probably make it in like a navy blue, or I would do like a deep green is probably the colors I would do it in. My sweet shop blanket is on here, and I've got a new sweater on there that I want to make. As well. Again, I've got to print out the pictures for these things. I just haven't had time yet. And then I do have a wish list. So a really good example of this is Chelsea Lux has a set that I absolutely love that I'm gonna put on my wish list as like a dream yarn of mine that I want. From there, we go into the monthly pages, and this is a 2-page setup for each month. I will show you, I've already started writing in January, so I will show you February so you can see it plain. So on the left side of the page, you have like a month overview. And then on the right side, you have the page broken into weeks. It's my WIP. So what works in progress am I carrying into February, and a queue. So what pattern is on in my queue to start that month. I'm going to list out anything that I have finished, and then I'm going to write down stash in and stash out. And then I am just going to use the weeks to say, this is the project that I'm focusing on this week. This is how much time I spent on it, how many days I've worked on it this week. Just to kind of track what my knitting routine looks like and try to really hone that in. So every month looks like that. And then I am going to do a year-end spread. I haven't designed it yet because I'm not exactly sure what I want it to look like, but that will go there. From there, and this section right now is blank. I haven't decided what information I want to track for each project. I'm going to do project planning pages. So there's several things that I want to track that I just need to figure out how I'm going to do that in the space that I have. So, and then at the end, I have just a bunch of blank pages. I have a quest to make my perfect pair of socks that fit my feet perfectly. This is figuring out what heel I like best, figuring out what my actual size is, figuring out what my actual cast on number is, and then how many stitches I need going into my foot from my gusset or my heel. And I know that's because I just have chunkier ankles, and I just want a good fitting pair of socks that's not going to like roll off of my foot like a couple of the ones I have do now. So I'm going to use the back of this planner to track some of that. But I also am going to design a sweater just for me It's not going to be a pattern that I sell. I do not want to be a pattern designer. That is, smart people do a really good job about that, and I want to support those people. However, I do want to take the elements that I love from several projects and make a pattern for my Christmas sweater. So I'm going to start taking notes in that space as well. What I like, what I don't like, what my sweater inspiration is, and all of that. I'm going to start keeping track of that in there so that whenever I start working on my Christmas sweater come August or September, then I will have been doing the hard work of the designing process before then. And I'm not going to stress myself out about it. Okay, I think we did it. Yeah, I shared my journal with y'all. I'm glad to give y'all a better idea of what my bingo card is, what my make 9 is. But again, this is really just for me. I just thought y'all like to see kind of what my process is. Okay, if you have stuck with me so far, thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope this was a fun video for you. I love watching what people are working on and what their current projects are and where they're at in the process with those projects. I think it's really fun, so I thought I would share that with y'all. The next video will be another normal podcast where I am talking about my projects, what 2026 might look like, and tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below because I want to know what y'all want to watch. But that is all I have for y'all right now. I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you are having a great day and that you are enjoying your making. Okay, friends, I will see y'all next time for a normal podcast. All right. See you later. Bye.